24 cars, 31 entered the pits here tonight. 24 make the Big O Tires A main. 20 times around. And Rickard will put his foot down, and immediately the youngster from Urbana will try to jump out in front. Dylan McCowan goes to the top of the racetrack. Andy Bryant to the bottom as they try to split the 39 as we go green flag racing. Bryant dive bombs to the bottom. Chris Jackson behind him. Andy slides up in front of the 39, your pole setter, and Dylan McCowan will lead him around for lap number 1 as everybody is jockeying for position here in the opening lap. Bryant takes the top spot away immediately, and McCowan gives chase now as he moves to the bottom of the racetrack, and here comes Chris Jackson.
Well, here comes Jackson, but there goes Andy Bryant. What a job by him to work from row 3 through the field in no time to get out in front. He is hooked up here tonight. Chris Jackson is now in tow to the inside of Dylan McCowan. Don't be surprised to see that number 18 just off the edge of your screen start to get into the mix as well as J.C. Morton, a 3-time winner. Chris Jackson takes a little bit of a bump, but he is able to keep it in line and down on that inside. He is a bottom feeder, and he has a lot of traction down on that cushion.
Good battle back in the field here. Behind the top 3 cars, Rickard able to wheel it around the 18 of your race winner from a week ago, J.C. Morton, as they battle side by side. And now Chris Jackson and Dylan McCowan trying to close in on Andy Bryant. 1 win already this season for Bryant. He had a DNF in last week's feature, though, so a bounce-back bid this week looking for a win for Team Bryant.
In that 65 there of Chris Jackson, we've chronicled what he's been able to do behind the wheel, but he gives so much credit to Jim Rubel and that Rubel Racing engine that is underneath the hood. He knows this is a horsepower racetrack, and Jim Rubel, anytime that there has been engine issues, he has answered the bell. Jim Rubel suffered a stroke not too long ago and was still in the shop in short order after that, turning out power plants for all of the local drivers, and Chris Jackson has been a big beneficiary. Dylan McCowan's another one, as Dylan is 20-lap feature for the Ozark Golf Cars USRAB mods.
Single file restart this time. Chris Jackson immediately jumps to the inside of your race leader, Andy Bryant, who loves to ride around the top of this diamond of dirt tracks, and that's where he goes. Jackson to the bottom and then slides up, trying to cut off J.C. Morton. They will be 3 across as they work to turns 3 and 4 now, with Morton trying to follow Andy Bryant, Shane, but Jackson kind of gets in the way, tries to slow him up, as right now the top of the track really coming in for the 28 and the 18.
And this is a track during intermission as J.C. Morton gives Chris Jackson a nice bump that got worked over again, got tilled up. It is now hammered back down, and this has become a multi-groove racetrack at the midway point. Bruce Cordy shows the cross flags. Andy Bryant is still out in front. J.C. Morton looking to the inside of Chris Jackson.
Great battle for second place between 2 of the best here every week as a part of the Big Adventure RV Weekly Racing Series. Andy Bryant's lead a half a second the last time around, 0.6 of a second this time around, as this time J.C. Morton goes to the bottom of the track, and now he will drift up the racing surface and try to chase the 60.
Estacana, a lot of them have Bob Dillner on them. You never know who's going to show up on MAV TV.
That is right. Never know who's going to get into victory lane here tonight either with this murderer's row up front. Jackson dive bombs to the bottom of the racetrack, tries to get a run on Andy Bryant, but Bryant powers past him down the back stretch. Bryant at the top, Jackson at the bottom. Jackson slides up, they'll make contact, and Bryant will hold on to the top spot here. 12 laps to the good, 8 laps to go. Bryant out in front. It remains a 1-2-3 car race. Bryant, Jackson, and J.C. Morton. Then Tyler Kidwell in that 54 has been sitting back in 4th place for the last handful of laps. You get a low look here as Bryant buzzes right by the tower as they run down the front straightaway. Everybody lined out here.
Wheatland, he has been to victory lane 3 times this year. Who will take it home with 7 laps left as they fire away into turn 1 again?
10 feature wins between the top 3 cars here in Wheatland, Missouri on a Saturday night, and Andy Bryant has had the horsepower to stay out in front of Chris Jackson and J.C. Morton so far, but he's got a handful of laps left to hold on. He had a half a second lead before the caution chain. He immediately jumps right back out to a 0.5 second advantage over the 65 of Jackson, and they continue to run almost unchanged in the top 4. Good battle back on in the field. Rusty Rickard and Dan Daniels battling for 5th right now as you see the group of cars coming off of turn number 4.
Well, what was a 3-car battle with all within about a car length of each other has really spanned out. Good battle back there, as you mentioned, the Rickard machine out in that number 39. The 68, funny story on that is Craig Mitz had a leg injury. He was unable to answer the bell, so Dan Daniels has come in, and he has performed extremely well in that number 68 machine. The Z28 on that outside. That is Randy Zimmerman out of Fort Scott in the Fort Scott Munitions ride. So those 3 cars there all fighting for position back in 5th, 6th, 7th, trying to get a top 5, but Andy Bryant just continues to check out from the field.
1.3 seconds the lead for young Bryant the last time around. So we go back to the leaders in this one. Bryant still running in first, but now Shane the great equalizer as he will start getting into lapped traffic here. Works his way around the 53. Chris Jackson and J.C. Morton still giving chase. Chris Jackson is always the first driver to tell you that Lucas Oil Speedway is a horsepower racetrack. Well, normally Chris Jackson's got more horses than anybody else, but right now Andy Bryant is showing his strength under the hood. 1 lap to go now as Bryant sails down the back straightaway, coming up upon lap traffic again. But Andy Bryant will fly off of turn number 4. Both checkered flags in the air, and Andy Bryant is your A feature winner tonight.
This one shakes out with Chase Domer, Tyler Wolf up on that front row. Bruce Cordy has the green flag in hand, and we are underway.
Round number 2 of the 2019 hunt underway here at the Lucas Oil Speedway. Tyler Wolf will quickly take that red, white, and blue 4W out to the lead down the back straightaway. Hunter Marriott, the Snickers 62, up to the outside of Chase Domer here as we complete lap number 1.
Wolf off of turn 4 will lead that first lap. The Fayetteville native looking to move into the top 10 in the point standings here for the United States Modified Touring Series. We saw him here last year for the first time. He came down for the Show Me 100 weekend and ran up front. Actually became a dad over that weekend. I talked to him, he says, you know, the cell phone service in Wheatland is not great to say the least. I'm hoping nothing happens while I'm out on the track and I can't get anything for a text or whatnot, but he became a dad that weekend, and now he is well out in front. Chase Domer, one of the locals here in the 227. He had a 2nd place finish back on April 20th. At one point in time, he led the point standings here, but he is now 75 points back. And that number 17 machine that's working to the outside, Mike Striegel, probably one of the oldest Rookie of the Year candidates you're going to find in any division.
Yeah, absolutely, but he's had a great year thus far. Hunter Marriott, who runs in 2nd, leads those Grant Young Hands Rookie of the Year standings, but the Striegel put together a great run at 81 Speedway a couple nights ago in that 17 to put together a top 10 finish, so that will help his efforts in closing in on the 62 of Marriott as they race 2x2 off of turn number 4.
So Wolf has checked out. Marriott in short order back behind him. Now 3 wide action, and that is back for 5th, 6th, 7th, all in that group as Chase Domer in 4th. Had the advantage that last time around. Great action back deeper in the field as it is spanning out 3 and 4 wide. This track was worked over during the intermission break, and it took no time at all for it to get nice and black and slick, and gives the drivers a number of different grooves and lanes to be able to work through.
Yeah, and Rodney Sanders has quickly worked his way up through the field as he goes side by side there with Domer. He'll be in the top 5 this time by. He started 14th on the grid, already into the top 5 in that 20 as they hustle off into turns 1 and 2.
And that number 20, a 4-time winner this year. He won twice back in April, back on the 5th and the 11th, and then he won twice in July. Both of those were at I-80 up in Nebraska.
Out in front, Tyler Wolf's going to have to deal with lap traffic shortly in this one. If we stay green, we'll see how Wolf navigates the lap cars as he's closed in on Donnie Fellers quickly in this one. Of course, we knew it. 29 cars started the A main, so lap traffic already playing a factor here with 9 laps in the books.
Yeah, it didn't take long for him to catch up with lap traffic in this one. Only 9 laps in, completing lap 10 this time around as Tyler Wolf looks to the inside of Fellers and will pull the slide job to take that number 24D 1 lap down.
You mentioned Chad Wheeler had to use a provisional to make the A main. Well, in similar fashion, you're looking at the 33Z as Zach Vanderbeek won this event back in 2016, already in danger of going a lap down as the 4W of Tyler Wolf works to his outside. There you see Ramirez and Chase Domer battle for the 5th place spot.
You know, what a heartbreaking loss it was for Derek Ramirez whenever he thought he had TP taken care of 2 nights ago and then just ekes a loss out, if you will. Terry Phillips was able to win by .002 seconds. I don't know how much of an actual differential that is inch-wise, but it can't be much. Maybe the width of a credit card as an incident over in turn 2. Time multi-time national champion in the NASCAR series, and I think he's probably going to be a NASCAR Hall of Famer before too long. As we're back under green, and this time Terry Phillips will look to the inside of Wolf, trying to get side-by-side off of 2.
Rodney Sanders trying to complete his charge as well. He started 14th on the grid in 4th, looking for more down to the bottom groove of the speedway, just underneath TP. Hunter Marriott up there as well as they go 3 wide down the main straightaway.
Phillips in the middle of that 3 wide battle. He'll lose some ground as Hunter Marriott gets a good run as Phillips was running for 2nd. Now he's back in 4th, and what a tough break for Marriott as he gets up into loose stuff, and he will lose a lot of ground.
Missed a mark just enough, but he'll go back after TP down into turns 1 and 2, trying to slide up to take his line. Can't clear by, and the 75 of Phillips will have the spot as Sanders sizes up the 4W of Tyler Wolf.
Yeah, battle for the lead with Wolf just continuing to go higher and higher every turn around this 3/8 mile dirt oval. He tries to get enough of the tacky stuff up top to get a run off of turns 2 and 4, and it's worked for him more times than not, but Rodney Sanders has found something down on that low groove.
Sanders has been fast all race long. Now he'll slide up to the top groove of the track on exit of turn number 4. Tried something different there on exit of 4. He'll be committed to the bottom this time off of turn number 2 as Hunter Marriott jumping up out of the groove over in turn number 2 as well.
So it was a .9 second advantage last time around. As they exit turn 4, we'll see what that lead is down to now, as it is now a .6 second advantage. Field has strung out now as drivers taking a number of different lines, both high and low. Nobody really using the middle of the track now, as Wolf on the top shelf just continues to find that traction and stay out in front of the 20 of Rodney Sanders.
Sanders trying to hit his marks along the bottom groove of the speedway as they race down the backstretch. Tyler Wolf, as we mentioned, 1 career USMTS win for the driver out of Fayetteville, Arkansas. Came here in the state of Missouri a few seasons ago at the Springfield Raceway in Springfield, Missouri, as we see side-by-side action there out of the 4R of Derek Ramirez and the 0 of Jake O'Neill. That race for 4th, and Ramirez can't quite grab the spot. O'Neill still in 4th down the back straightaway.
Jake O'Neill on the top side. He is a 2-time winner. He won up at Upper Iowa back in May. Before that, Longdale Speedway was a feature win for him in April as we have crossed the midway point. 20 laps down, 20 to go.
Rodney Sanders taking over the lead from the 4W of Tyler Wolf. Wolf slips up and out of the groove over the cushion in turn number 4, and the Rocket will take over. So Sanders able to stretch that lead out that time by nearly a second. Rodney Sanders now your leader, and now he will have to deal with lap traffic here shortly.
19 laps remain in this one. As you see, the number 20 continuing to ride down on that low side. Rodney Sanders has made that work, and I'm not necessarily going to say that that's the fastest way around, but whenever Tyler Wolf got way up and went over the berm over in turn 4, he lost a lot of ground. It opened the door up for Rodney Sanders, and now he has checked out, as it was about a second advantage, and it just continues to grow.
Looking further back in the pack, we see a battle for 5th there between the 4R of Ramirez and the 62 of Hunter Marriott. Marriott trying to crack back up into the top 5, but Ramirez holding his own for that spot as well as he pulls down to the inside of the 0 of Jake O'Neill. O'Neill fought brake issues Thursday night at the 81 Speedway. Did not finish that event. Looks to have things righted here this evening as he runs in fourth just ahead of Ramirez.
Yeah, O'Neill using that Tyler Wolf line that served him so well in the early going as Donnie Fellers exits stage right off of turn 2. And a great job by Derek Ramirez. You see him able to get a good run and close the gap, but it is that run that Jake O'Neill has off the top side that is able to stretch that lead out. And there's that lap traffic you talked about. We'll see how well Rodney Sanders can pick his way through that field up in front. First off, the number 23, and there's Lucas Gibbs that's starting to pitch him down on the inside as well.
Yeah, and you said earlier nobody was running the middle groove. Well, now Vanderbeek actually running the middle, so they're using all 3 grooves right now in front of the 20 of Sanders.
But look at what is happening in this as Terry Phillips in the number 75 is starting to close that gap. Terry Phillips was able to get around Tyler Wolf to move up into second, and now that advantage is down to 0.8 seconds that Rodney Sanders has over Terry Phillips.
So Phillips starting to chip away at the lead that Sanders has built. Sanders had to change his line.
Yeah,
he was committed to the bottom for the longest time, and now he's had to move up top to work around the lapped cars.
And it's all about the 51 of Lucas Gibbs. I'm sure he got the move over flag for the leaders, but Lucas Gibbs never really changed his line, and Rodney Sanders had to go to the outside. There was no option about it, as you see Vanderbeek there as well in that number 33, and then Chad Wheeler, who has had a tough outing to say the least. He's clogging up the outside.
Yeah, Sanders definitely has his work cut out for him here over the next dozen laps in this one. 28 laps in of 40. Sanders working heavy lap traffic. Now TP, though, we mentioned he was closing in, but he's having to fight those same battles that Sanders just did, so having a little trouble now chipping away at the lead.
Again, go back to that fight deeper in the field with Jake O'Neill, Hunter Marriott, and Derek Ramirez. That is for 4th, 5th, and 6th with 10 laps left in this one. It is Ramirez to the inside. Tyler Wolf now, who has lost a lot of ground. He had checked out before, and now he's back to third, and he might even lose that to Jake O'Neill as the Zero Machine looks to slide up in front of him. Can't pull it off of turn 4. Wolf will have the advantage, and then he'll try to protect the line as Jake O'Neill goes down and clips off the nose of Derek Ramirez.
They're 3 wide down the back straightaway in that battle. Great racing there inside of your top 5 as Sanders comes by to complete lap number 32. 8 laps remain, but what a battle between Wolf, O'Neill, and Ramirez.
And now R.C. Whitwell has worked up into 6th. He has become a contender for a top 5 finishing position. 32 laps in, and this is a guy that led 20 laps a couple of nights ago. At the midway point, he jumped the berm, giving way to Terry Phillips for that feature win. R.C. Whitwell looking for a little bit of redemption as he's fighting for a top 5 spot.
Down the back straightaway, the lap cars side by side there in front of the 20 of Sanders. Sanders will work off the high side of turn number 4 to try to navigate the lap traffic here with 6 laps to go.
Rodney Sanders has gotten through lap traffic and now has a 2-second advantage over Terry Phillips. He has now checked out. More lapped cars in the way now as Ryan Middall will go a lap down. Chase Jones in the 0-3 now will go a lap down. Now Rodney Sanders, after about a 4-lap span of not being able to do anything with lap traffic, he has found a groove up on the top side, and with 5 laps left, he is disposing of the tailback of the lead lap.
A lot of clear air as well in front of that 20 of Sanders, about a half a straightaway behind the next lapped car, which would be the 5 of Robbie Reed. So Sanders has a lot of breathing room right now while they're 3 wide in front of Terry Phillips off of turn number 2.
Jake O'Neill in 5th, loses a spot again to R.C. Whitwell, so Whitwell now has a top 5 position and then some as he is up to 4th. He puts Jake O'Neill back to 5th, and Hunter Marriott drops back to 6th.
What a turnaround and some redemption for the 96T of Whitwell. He finished 6th on Thursday at 81 Speedway after leading several laps in that event. So having a good run here tonight as he's worked his way up to 4th here with 2 laps to go.
Only a handful of laps left, as you mentioned, and
so here we go, a green-white checkered finish to wrap it up here at the Diamond of the Dirt tracks. 38 in and 2 to go. Rodney Sanders, a great restart for the Rocket.
Oh, wow, what a great hole shot he got. Ramirez on the top side, Terry Phillips on the low side, and that lead that number 20 car has built up might be enough to pull him through.
Off of turn number 4, the white flag is displayed to the 20 of Rodney Sanders. The current national points leader looking to pick up win number 5.
Ramirez chooses high side. Phillips goes low side on the restart. Not as good on the last time for Rodney Sanders, but good enough as he will pull away and pull the field into turn 1.
Sanders bolts off through turns 1 and 2. Ramirez trying something on the top. He's moved up to the outside of the speedway. Now he'll cross to the middle groove to try to get to the bottom here as the white flag waves once again off of turn number 4. One more lap to go.
Had an outstanding finish in this race last year. Can anything top what we had as Ramirez tries to stay in the hunt on the top side, but Rodney Sanders has a little too much underneath the hood.
Off at turn number 4 for the 5th time in 2019, Rodney Sanders, your USMTS feature winner here at Lucas Oil Speedway.
Who will be left standing at the end of the 20 laps? The O'Reilly Auto Parts Street Stocks come screaming to life here at the Diamond of Dirt Tracks. Toby Ott immediately goes to the bottom of the racetrack and jumps out on Mark Carter. Then Carter gets a good run off of it. Turn number 2. Getting shuffled back in the field is Nick Fritsch, the pilot of the 85, as he started up front and immediately gets shuffled back into a big group racing 3 wide as they round underneath the flag stand. Cody Frazen, Brown, James Flood, a gaggle of cars there as the first 4 cars have checked out on the field. Ott, Carter, Johnny Coates out of Joplin, Missouri, and Kyle Slater, who just seems to find his way to the front each and every time he visits Wheatland.
Yeah, did you have any doubt at all that Kyle Slater, a 2-time winner here already, he won the Diamond Nationals, then won a couple of weeks after that. Was there any doubt he was going to be a noisemaker in this, as he is already up to 3rd, working down on that low side, kind of bounces through. Turns 3 and 4, takes that spot away from Mark Carter, and now Johnny Coates, who lines up in 2nd, may be the next to go down to the hands of the number 4, but Mark Carter comes fighting back, Corey, on the inside.
Carter's got a good car underneath him, has all season long. Slater now takes it to the top of turn number 4, bears back down and pulls in front of Carter. Will turn his attention to Joplin's Johnny Coates. He wants that number 2 spot. Slater won his heat race and the feature a week ago, and he has a mind to do it again here this week. He will work through 4 now, keeping Carter behind him, but all the while, Toby Ott checking out almost a 2-second lead for the wheelman from Wheatland as he leads this one. Down the backstretch he goes, 5 laps into this one, and there is an old straightaway between he and Johnny Coates right now, as Ott will barrel off of turn number 4 and continue to add to his advantage. The 31 of Josh Crump pulls off the racetrack. That old Camaro style pure stock goes back behind the wall. He traded a Harley for that car.
I was just getting ready to say, a camo car. He said he wanted a street stock. He traded a Harley Davidson for that car. I'm not sure if that was the right move or not.
Well, it was one of the best stories we heard in the pits tonight, but he's back in the pits now. His night is done. Toby Ott now up to a 3-second advantage over Johnny Coates, Kyle Slater. Now Cody Frazen, the driver from Lamont, Missouri, has made his way toward the front. You see Frazen now battling side by side with Chuck Knight, Batman, trying to get his car up to the front. They'll trade a little paint back in the field here as they give chase behind the 10 of Mark Carter.
So Mark Carter, Cody Frazen, and Chuck Knight, the 3 cars that you see there in order. The 04 of Frazen, a winner back on June 15th, right in the middle of all that mess. He had a tough outing earlier in the year, actually had to go to a backup car for the Diamond Nationals, ran well in it, and was able to get that car straightened back out. He was actually pretty lucky. He said he did all the body work on it, just trying to get it fixed, and went and measured it all out, and everything lined up perfect. And very rarely do you see that with a street stock, where you're able to do that much work in the frame and be able to keep it straight.
We've crossed the midway point here now as Frazen pulls up along the 64-year-old Chuck Knight with the Dark Knight on either side of his car. That Batman logo on either side, trying to hold on to that number 5 spot. Frazen trying to take it away. All the while, Toby Ott continues to add to his advantage. Your race leader now, a 4.5-second pad between he and Johnny Coates. Ott underneath the flag stand, underneath Bruce Cordy, and now Johnny Coates gets around. As you see the race, everything going on back behind him. Kyle Slater, Mark Carter, Chuck Knight, Cody Frazen, all battling for position back 4, 5, 6, 7 on the racetrack.
And so many cars that are coming here right now getting tuned up for that Big Buck 50 coming up in October. Kyle Slater's been here a couple of times, but Chuck Knight's another one that mentioned that is why he is here right now, just getting practice in. He ran it a few years back, and the Fort Smith, Arkansas native just trying to get everything dialed in for a big payday coming up in October.
He will be your race leader, Toby Ott. He will also be a car to watch for in that big payday, the 3-day special event in the Big Buck 50. Ott just crushing the field right now. A 5-second advantage over every other race car right now. Johnny Coates trying to reel him in, but he cannot do it right now. 5 laps remain.
And Toby Ott, the 2017 champion, to tell you how he has run roughshod over this entire class. He could sit out an entire week and still have the point lead. He has built up over a 100-point advantage over the man that's second place in the point standings here at Lucas Oil.
We're just 2 races away from the points championship night here at the Diamond of Dirt tracks, but Toby Ott trying to make it a no-doubter with another win here tonight. Ott has been to victory lane 4 times, over a 109-point advantage on the field, but now Kyle Slater slides underneath Johnny Coates. He's got that car at the bottom of the racetrack. You can see how dry and slick it is. Coates, though, a lot of horsepower off of the turn, and he tries to keep his nose out in front of the floor of Kyle Slater, the dynamic driver from Oklahoma. Toby Ott's advantage a little bit given back, about a half a second that time as Coates and Slater make up some ground, but just 2 laps remain in this one as Ott continues to pick off cars and put them a lap down. The next one he will try and put away the 5H of Eric Hammonds as they go side by side through turn number 4. Ott right through the middle of the racetrack. We'll see the white flag first. 1 lap to go for Toby Ott. 11 top 10s so far this season for the driver of the Hobby Time Motorsports TNT Quick Shop ride. Toby Ott is going to add to his victory total here in Wheatland as he will win for the 5th time tonight. Toby Ott, your race winner in the